Is it going?
I don't know. Is it going? Hmm. Is it going?
So, so I was telling Kevin, and now he's being a jerk, about, I haven't been to WKO, which is where I normally start my afternoon trainings. I haven't been there in like a month because my mom and brother were visiting, and then I was traveling for fights, and then when I came back, other things were happening, so I haven't been training there, and I've been kind of supplementing by going to Rambaz instead, which has kept me away, blah, blah, blah. So I went there today for the first time, and I sparred with Pimut, who I usually am sparring with Truden, who's the other one, and he just kicked my ass, and like my whole thing was just stay in southpaw, like just stay southpaw, and that experience of like just I'm 100 pounds and he's like not that. He's much bigger. I made a joke. I'm like, I'm 100 pounds, you're 100 kilos. And he was like, don't worry about it. But he kept saying, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, as I was getting my ass kicked, because what he was trying to do to me was put me in this, like, space where you emotionally accept that you physically can't do anything. It's like emotional pressure training, which sounds very worthwhile and is good, but I don't actually need that today. And I don't need that a lot, because I fight people bigger than me and I train with people bigger than me and all this stuff. I get that experience often, and it has shaped my Muay Thai in ways that I don't want or like. When you occasionally get put in the fire, you get all like hardened and crispy. When you fucking live in the fire, you're like cindery, and it's not something that I need or want. So I got upset in that actual experience because I was aware of what it was for and what was happening, but what I was frustrated by for myself was just having to like pull myself together, because when you have someone hitting you in the mouth and in the face and being that much bigger than you and just able to do whatever they want, I was getting really wide and like sloppy in what I was doing, and so feeling the wide and sloppy is actually the part that I was upset about, is how I felt like I was not able to feel the Muay Thai that I wanted to feel. Which actually this morning when I woke up, I didn't want to go to the gym at all. I didn't want to train in the morning at all, and I laid there thinking about not going to like give myself time to rest and blah blah blah. But when I actually thought about, okay, if I don't go to the gym, feeling those hours before I go in the afternoon, does that feel good? And it didn't feel good in my head. So I was like, okay, I'll go and just focus on very different things. So I've been reading The Inner Game of Tennis, which my friend Robin sent me. It's really, really good, and there are so many things in it that I've actually discovered for myself over the years that I've been training like a crazy person. So reading it now, it's kind of like a Cliff's Notes to these things that I've discovered over all this time. But this chapter I was reading, he was talking about how you end up playing all of these peripheral games when what you want to be playing is your sport. And so you're playing the like everybody like me game, or you're playing the I'm trying to be good game, or you're playing the like my friends do this so I do this thing. So when I decided to go to the gym, I'm like, what game am I actually going to play? And I wanted to play the feel Muay Thai, like feel Muay, because I love Muay Thai. And so when I get to just feel it, it feels really good. And it's like when you just get to be in love instead of like figuring out who does the shopping and things like that. So I had that morning, and then having this experience with Pimut, I was not feeling the Muay that I wanted. So it was frustrating, and all I focused on was what my mind needed to do to get my body to feel like, even while I was being hit, I was in the position that felt good to me. So all of that is to say that that training that I didn't want or need had like 15 minutes of absolute shit that probably did a lot of damage to me, and 2 minutes of like really, really good letting myself find ways of feeling what I wanted to feel, like just letting it correct itself. So lots of back stepping and a couple of inches forward in that sparring session this afternoon. And I think that there's a tendency to be like, oh, it was so hard and awful, but here's a silver lining that like made it worthwhile kind of thing. Sometimes it's just shit and I don't need that training and I'm not going tomorrow. But there is something that came out of it that I'm grateful for. It's that small sliver that I'm happy I'm in a place that I've done all of the work, that I'm in a place that I can get that out of that situation, because that wouldn't have happened maybe like 2 months ago even. I don't know. And then I went to Petrogrung, and Pinu's older brother was there holding pads, and he super intimidates me. He's a really nice guy. I know him, we like run together in the mornings, and he's held pads for me a couple of times, but he just scares the shit out of me for some reason. And when I got there, Pinu was like, I hurt Pinu's chest by elbowing him in the chest the other day. And so he's been kind of like at limited capacity. And so he gave me to his brother to wear me out a lot before I got on the pads with him, I think, so that the like danger of me hitting the pad and kind of like jerking his muscle was less. But so I did 2 rounds of just grabbing Pinoc's head and like throwing these endless clinch knees that was intensely exhausting, like really, really hard. But what I was really proud of in that situation was that he would like off balance me, 'cause he's fucking awesome. He would just off balance me, and as I was regaining my balance, I would throw the knee, which is this kind of like diesel noi instinct of like a knee fighter that made me really proud that again I've done the work for that to reveal itself to me rather than it being something that I'm like trying to do. I was reading the other day. I think I was actually writing to a woman who had written to me privately and said something about how I really encouraged her to keep going, even though she wasn't sure she would ever have the courage to step into the ring. And I'd said something about like, don't worry so much about trying, just do it, because it will like shape itself. In writing that, I was like, I just realized what Yoda's do or do not, there is no try means. Like, it just resonated with me. And that's what, even though sparring with Pimut was such shit, and kneeing Pinoc was so terrifying, even though those are both really difficult situations, they were both do not try. I didn't try anything in either of those. I just did and didn't to varying degrees. So that's my Yoda Day update of today. It was ultimately a very good day.